her first decision as the presidential nominee for the Democrat Party, that no one voted for, by the way. This was the guy she chose to be by her side. The day after the single largest trading loss on the stock market for a day, this is the guy she chooses?
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Just do the damn work.
Socialism. You have got to be kidding me. Kamala Harris, due to the seemingly anti-Semitic Democrat base, she passed over what I think was a more viable national candidate in Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, in her first major decision. She chose this guy, the guy who was down on his knees at the George Floyd riots, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, supporting the drug addict criminal resisting arrest, writing "Justice Now" in his own special chalk in a face mask, while doing nothing for the actual law-abiding citizens that had their businesses burned down by these riots in his state. Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor, refused to activate the National Guard to quell these riots, and this guy wants to represent the entire country? No, thank you. This is Minneapolis before the riots, as you can see right there. And this is after the riots. Before the riots, after. I mean, like, there are dozens of these buildings, and this is all over the place. They haven't even been repaired years later. He bent the knee to the mob in his home state. Ironically, he's now running with the same lady that then bailed out those criminals that destroyed those same buildings in that community. You cannot make this stuff up. This far-left dynamic duo will do the exact same thing to America if they get a chance. They have no respect for American culture. They have no respect for our history and our traditions either. For God's sake, the guy made a video replacing the Minnesota state flag that has been a staple of their history for well over 100 years with one that more closely resembles their fastest growing population, as you can see there. Oh, the Somali flag. You know, where Ilham Omar came from, which happens to be the #1 terrorist recruiting district in America. Kamala Harris might as well have just picked Ilhan to be her running mate. I mean, Walz might be some lukewarm white guy from the Midwest as he perceives himself, but he's as far left as you get. Now, I know that the moderate PR machine is pitching him as like, oh, he's a hunter and a gun owner and a military veteran, favored governor of a battleground state. First off, Minnesota is not a battleground state. They have not voted for a Republican presidential candidate since 1972. In fact, that was the single state that voted for their own Walter Mondale against Ronald Reagan while he won the other 49 states. So don't tell me Kamala Harris picked Walz because she wanted to win a battleground state. Second, Walz may own a gun or two, but he's not a friend to gun owners, folks. Do not believe this spin. He was when he was a congressman for a rural district there, but when he ran for governor, he just happened to or he evolved, sorry. And then he turned around and attacked the NRA. He supported massive gun control. He instituted measures like red flag laws since becoming governor. Third, the fake news is waving this veteran flag pretty hard right now. And as a guy who became a SEAL because there was a war, let me air my personal frustrations with him as branding himself some honorable veteran. In a letter advertised to the Western Central Tribune, 2 soldiers that served with Walz put their name to an op-ed asserting that Tim Walz, as a senior enlisted, resigned from his military position before his enlistment was up, by the way, because he found out his unit was being deployed to Iraq. That is cowardly. Then, when he was called out on it, he said, oh, I had to resign from the military in order to run for Congress. BS. Since 1800, there have been over 100 members of Congress that have also been simultaneously part of the military reserves and Congress. That dog don't hunt. That makes Tim Walz a liar. And there is a stark difference between J.D. Vance, who you're going to hear from in just a minute, who joined because of the war and actually went to Iraq in 2005. Do not be fooled by the media trying to make out who Tim Walz is. This guy, he signed as governor transgender care for youth bill, okay? He signed free college tuition bill for illegals, signed up an abortion up to the day of birth. He repealed a state program that supported pregnant women as well. He established a DEI council, not to mention he forced schools to provide tampons for 10-year-old boys. He gave driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. And while crime was dropping nationwide, Walz somehow figured out a way to have it go up in his state. He had extended mandatory business shutdowns during COVID. He also shoved the elderly into COVID-positive nursing homes like Andrew Cuomo did in New York. Walz figured out a way also to squander a $17.6 billion surplus in his state, leading to him being forced to raise taxes on his people. Oh, by the way, he did get a DUI for going 96 and a 55. And when he was asked about mass migration and Donald Trump's wall, Walz said he wanted to invest in a ladder company.
And I think seeing a plan that's out there, talking about it with folks, knowing that he's not going to do anything. He talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory. That's not how you stop this.
I am not surprised that Kamala Harris would pick this guy. He is perfect for the Democrat base. This is not a moderate VP nominee. This is the most radical left-wing ticket this country has ever seen. Do not let Anderson Cooper, CNN, or The View define who this guy is. Do your own homework on this, folks. Because as I always say, when they tell you who they are, listen to them. Because Tim Walz has spent almost 20 years telling us exactly who he really is. This is unbelievable that we are sitting here faced with a guy who is trying to be made out to be a moderate. He's trying to make himself out to be a moderate. He's trying to become the offset Mike Pence of the Democrat Party.